see, they're worried about the Latin Mass.
Who gave that
and
information
the veil over
to them?
the women's heads. You
Right.
understand that?
They're more concerned about the Latin Mass than they are 10 million Chinese.
Yeah. So we better awake real quick. But I don't know if it's going to happen. I think it's going to require divine intervention because it's almost we're asleep at the wheel. We're lethargic. We're indifferent.
When you walk away from traditions, you're only left with this modernist thinking, and they want to keep saying, well, we're not modernists. It's like the Democrats trying to say, well, we're not progressive, we're not socialists.
Right.
Well, you may not like the word. You can come up with a new word, but you're not being
truthful,
old,
right.
style Democrat. At least had, at least a plan and, some thinking coming back the other way. They don't have that today. And this is causing more of problematic thinking in all of our world.
Right.
Because there's everyone used to, when a world tragedy happened,
they'd look to the church.
They'd look to the Pope and they looked to the President of the United States.
Right. That's right.
Okay. And what happened in the last 25 years? They've stopped looking to the Pope for answers and response. And they've stopped many times looking to the President of the United States.
Absolutely right.
A lot of that's changing and it's coming back. But, I don't know who the world is looking to be their barometer of which way the weather is going. Because they seem to be more complacent about what is happening. What are we going to do?
You were saying 50% don't even acknowledge or have been baptized.
True. That's in the United States alone.
And the importance of baptism is unbelievable. But they don't want to be baptized. So
they don't think it's important.
So who are they looking to? I don't think they're looking to. I mean, they're looking to somebody that gives them something for nothing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, they want their stuff, and they think that the rich people are the problem, and the white people are the problem, and you make enough people that are the problem, then all of a sudden you're not responsible for anything.
Right. That's right.
This is all part of it. It's not your fault. Okay. That guy did it to you. And so we're going to get him.
Right.
Okay. You just become an economic slave to me and we'll go get him for you. And so the party of slavery that, has become now the party of economic slavery. And this is what they're trying to do. They only see you, me, and the other guy as captive ratepayers to keep paying them money.
Right.
So they keep doing their things that they put out there as being the virtue signaling that we need to be looking at right now. And if it doesn't involve, mutilating a young child because they want to play with dolls or don't want to play with dolls, this is crazy thinking.
Right.
But this is the new normal, which is going on.
Yeah, the frightening, the new
and
normal.
We may be the last of the generations that actually call this out, because the younger generations are becoming more and more like this Tovis and Pius XII, who saw Hitler and said, no one's going to stop him. We got to get on that train.
That's right. That's basically Pius XI was going to read him the Riot Act. They even wonder if they got rid of Pius XI because he was about to come out with an encyclical condemning Nazism, and they didn't want anything to do with that. But he was going to do it. I think he was going to do it, and he died the day before he was going to do it.
He died under strange circumstances, and
is that true?
Well, he died suddenly, and there was no autopsies. There's no autopsies on a pope.
Here we go again.
By canon law.
Yeah.
Why?
You tell me.
Well, they may have to do their natural selection every now and then and get rid of one.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, we made a mistake here.
Right.
And so he dies quietly in his sleep from a poisoning. They got to his ice cream the night before or something.
Well, they waited from 1958 till now to release the papers of Pius XII.
They got to wait for people to die.
that were involved in that circle.
Right. That's what I'm saying here. What's going on with this of eliminating these traditions, rich traditions, which hold people and make a woman who realized through the process of attending the Latin Mass that she was trying to control everything, and she realized how she was wrong all this time, that she should have been, following her faith rather than trying to argue with the Mass, which she was trying to do from her militant or angry feminine mind, which she had. She says, I was at odds with the church and the Mass for no reason other than I wanted to be in control.
Huh.
And she had to realize I wasn't in control because I didn't know what was going on, but thankfully they did. And so she realized when she gave up control, she started enjoying and understanding.
So it was transformational.
Right. Well, she realized that I was the problem here. I was blocking myself.
Well, then that's why the Latin Mass would present the problem to the modern church, is because in and of itself affects the soul as it goes on.
And the depth of understanding that goes with these traditional movements and practices
now it makes sense.
In the Mass.
Right.
I don't understand why they're doing it. Well, they understand.
Right.
And that you might want to, this might be a learning moment for you afterward.
Right.
To understand, with your good priests and the deacons or whoever, as to what was that about? Why don't we do that at all the Masses? Well, it's just part of the Latin rite that we do that. And it's not for everybody. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and try to buy a ticket to go to a Latin Mass. I've attended them, over the years, just out of curiosity and availability. I was there, they're doing a Latin Mass. Well, I'll sit through it. I'll follow.
In fact, there's not that many of them anyways being done. You actually have to seek it out.
Right.
Right, and find out that it's at this time on only this day.
Some are actually underground. They're being held in people's homes or other small chapels, private chapels, where people get together to do a Latin Mass on their own outside of the boundaries.
A small breakaway, if I might. What you know of Pius X?
I know of them. I don't know.
Do you have any sense of the legitimacy of them? And I think it was Cardinal Lefebvre, a French cardinal, that they came to, and the seminarians wanted to be taught in traditional seminaries. And Lefebvre, I guess, actually really just wanted to retire because he was an older man and he saw what went on at Vatican II. And, it's sort of like General MacArthur. I mean, they fought in 2 wars. There's nothing else they can do. Let's just, cut the losses and whatever he was saying. You guys are hiring the wrong generals after World War II. But Lefebvre was drafted, and because he really didn't want to start, but he was a legitimate cardinal pope, and so they came to him, and money came, and he said, "Well, he set up seminaries to train these people." And one of their things is that they do the Latin Mass, but Pope John Paul II and Francis, or John Paul II, and Pope. Not Pius, but
You're talking about Benedict XVI?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry. Benedict. They all wanted them to concede to come into the fold of the church.
Right.
But they had to abide by the rules, which at the time there wasn't.
The modernists have been at it for quite some time.
Right. So, I mean.
And now they're trying to back the worm out of the hole again now with the modernists. Okay. And so, and one of the things that's going on now is I wish we'd had our friend Sarah in here, the music liturgist. They're trying to eliminate more of the modern music from the church services and going back to the old school
to
stuff
make it
again.
look like it might be the
right. And this is pissing off a lot of the modernists.
Sure, because
they're saying, "Oh, we're going back. Oh, we're going back." Well, maybe we shouldn't have gone so forward in the first place.
Right.
I think, but they're not saying that.
Right. Right. So they're trying to put a happy face on, this modern church with.
Well, they're at war with the tools of the trade rather than practicing the craft and focusing on that more so. So,
well, the Holy Family wasn't.
It's all changing.
The Holy Family wasn't wrestling with rubrics. They were just overwhelmed with God's presence, and His presence is in the Holy Eucharist. And a lot of the priests, in the past 20, 30 years that I've been around, always talk about the body, blood, soul, and divinity in the Holy Eucharist. I said, why do they keep saying this? Because people don't believe it, and they think that it's, chewing gum or something.
Well, and this is where we get the communion in the hand. I knew at that point, this isn't going to end well.
Okay.
And I'm the kid.
Right.
And I'm thinking, this isn't going to end well.
Well, You used to be an altar boy, too. And
and then I was talking about the paten. You had to have the paten to make sure the communion in hand, no need for a paten anymore.
Right.
So they cut my job out, but that's fine. It's one less duty I had to do during the Mass. And they had you stand there for a while. And now they don't have a paten if you're taking communion on the tongue. I mean, it might be every now and then, but for the most part, I'd never see
a few of them will try to do it and have it.
I rarely, if ever, see a server out there with a paten.
I saw it once where they actually have it. If you want it in the mouth, they would put that underneath while you take it. It's a church in, I don't want to say where, but it's in, small town outside of Fort Wayne. So perhaps what we're looking at here, Maria Valtorta, that wrote during World War II and into the 1970s, I believe, before she died, she writes in the End Times, things to look at the end times, and she says, or Christ says this. He says that the World War II, Satan needed a blood sacrifice to open up the gates of hell, and World War II was what provided that. And so, are we looking at the fruits of this demolition of the church and presenting, taking the host in the hand and chewing on the host
or just disregard for the solemnity?
I mean, are these the fruits of we have to remember that Pope Leo XIII heard that Lucifer was given 100 or whatever number of years to destroy the church. Are these the fruits of destroying the church by going?
Well, I said before, Mary had said that the devil has released more demons into the world recently than ever any time before try to soften things up.
Oh, that's right.
And, that this is all part of, I believe that the devil over that 100 years was planting seed. Okay, he was a latent farmer. He was putting seed out there through all these things, invading the school systems, invading
everything,
your political structures,
correct,
your societal norms.
Oh God, yeah.
Invading Hollywood,
that's right.
And your media types, invading like the
news organizations.
Right, William Randolph Hearst,
paper,
in his publications, which fostered and inspired John Francis Knoll to start the Sunday Visitor
correct,
Press, was actually in direct opposition to William Randolph Hearst.
Is that right?
Yeah, because Hearst was putting out what they call yellow rags, and a lot of these pamphlets that were sold at these Protestant tent revivals that cast Catholics as being vampires. Blood-drinking carnivores. And that was how Catholics were portrayed.
Wow.
Now, a lot of people don't know, but Catholics and Jews and other people of different European descent, the Irish, when employers will put up a sign saying "No Irish need apply,"
right,
they meant no Catholics.
Is that right?
No Catholics were vilified as well as Jews.
Huh.
They just took it better and sustained themselves better than the others because they had more numbers. But a lot of people, disinherited Catholics and thought, very poorly of them. And it wasn't until after, like, World War II that things started
settling out
shape
for them, sure.
Yeah.
They got into politics. They got into
unions. But they were told not to. The church, taught them to not go into politics. And that's when John Kennedy ended up, running, because his dad, Joe, wanted his son to be president.
Right.
That caused a lot of problem. And then he said, I won't be a Catholic president.
Yeah, and at the time, the Kennedys were, I think, the fourth richest people in the world. I think they're only worth like maybe $250-300 million. Now
I'll
you got
take
people,
it.
You take
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take
It'd
half.
be the poorest.
Split it with you.
But I mean, at the time of his son and before that, they were worth so much money they were considered the fourth richest family.
No,
in the world.
bootlegging pays.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
making that whiskey in Canada and bringing it in. You know, they think Capone was the racketeer. You know,
Kennedy was much larger.
yeah.
Is that right?
I don't know, but Kennedy was enough. He made
To make
his
that kind of money, yeah.
he sure did wet his beak.
Yeah, I don't think Capone was ever worth $250 million. To be honest with you, so.
I really don't know. I mean, who knows? But he had a lot of land up around Chicago.
He did.
A lot of land.
They say the bodies are buried here in Fort Wayne. They used to come out of Chicago and come to the country and stuff. So here we are talking about the current state of the Catholic Union or disunion. We're talking about the opposition to what appears to be holiness that the church at this point, or the Pope, quote, at this point is concerned about the Latin Mass as being detrimental and also being concerned about whatever else, veils or people putting over their
Well,
heads.
they're concerned now that if you take all this newer modern stuff that they put in since the 70s, you take it away, then the church isn't going to be relevant anymore. No, the church needs to do a better job of teaching its principles, and formational learning of its members.
See, Larry, the only thing that I can see that's going to correct this condition of the church is God's got to intervene, because I don't see them doing it on their own in terms of the hierarchy.
Well, they're looking for an easy path, but to do the work is work, and I think a lot of times, it's kind of funny in this seat that we're in right now, and I get a lot of communication from other people that watch these things that says, "Well, we got a wonderful priest here." I said, "Well, good,
Right,
help him."
right.
Okay?
That's right. They're out there.
If you got a problematic priest, let us
Call him
know.
out, right.
Yeah, you got to tell him no.
Right. That's
'Cause
right.
Not every priest is, God's greatest gift to mankind. It's an opportunity, but they're going to fail as well.
Right.
And they sin as well. It's like, that's why they use the confessional. They're having problems. And the world is a very tempting mistress, if you will.
No, absolutely, Larry. Yeah.
So, I mean, I hate to use
No,
that
it is.
word.
It's tempting, and all of us are subjected to it. And our Lord even cautioned Mary of Agreda, the closer you get to me, the bigger the fall. And always telling to be on guard, and because he's going to slip in very subtly. And then even Mary of Agreda that did these bilocations and could fall from grace.
Sure.
So nobody's immune to it.
Well, we're human. We're not gods.
Right.
And so we're fallible as all get out. And that's why you want to stay close to the sacraments and all like that. I think we need to get some old school perspective on this. So you take the mic here a little bit, and
Okay.
I'm going to get the phone. I'm going to call
St. Rita.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to have a little discussion with St. Rita in just a minute. Larry's got his phone charging up, and we'll have her perspective on these particular issues. So they're all hedging their bets that Nazism would be victorious.
Bluetooth connected.
And would be victorious, and they would be on the side and good graces of a dictator. Now, if Hitler would have taken over, here we go with St. Rita.
Hello.
St. Rita, how are you today?
Fine.
Good. Have you been following the news on that shooting in Minnesota?
How's what?
Have you been following the news on the shooting in Minnesota?
Yeah, the killing? Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
last I saw,
Critical. Yeah.
I saw 2 were killed and 17 were injured.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And these were all kids that were attending mass.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
geez.
Yes. First day of school. Yeah.
So this guy goes into the church while mass is going on and starts shooting these kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he kill himself or did they get him?
Yes. Yes. He killed himself. Yeah.
What is it with these guys? And, you know, they want to commit suicide, but they want to, you know, make this
Yeah.
crazy
Yeah.
statement. Is it that they're so upset with themselves?
I don't know. They didn't
Well,
say.
Well, did you ever recall anything like this going on in your life when you were younger? Did they have things
No.
like this happen?
No. No. No.
Yeah, well, a lot of times the psychology, and you take it for what it is
Yeah.
that they're
Yeah.
angry and they if they're killing kids or killing the innocents, and so they're in control, and so they don't want anybody else to shoot them, so they kill themselves to show that they're in control.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
will decide when I die, and I'm going to decide when these other kids die. Very pathological and streams into evil and diabolical thinking, because for anybody to shoot innocents or children is not operating with they're operating with demonic patterns. And
With a cold deck. Yeah.
So, well, anyway, we're talking about old traditions in the church that are being put aside by new practices. And one of the things we were talking about, of course, was the Latin Mass. And that is under attack by many in the church, and especially coming out of the Vatican. These modernists want to make everything new and contemporary and to say we need to be relevant. Did you ever have any discussions growing up, or did anyone ever talk about the church not being relevant?
Nobody. I never heard any.
Concern. Even during Vatican II, I didn't hear him talking about that the church needed to be relevant.
No.
You
No.
know, they just needed to make it more accessible to folks. That wasn't relevancy. So, so we talked about the Latin Mass, and now what they're also doing in the churches is going back to the old hymns in the music liturgy and getting rid of a lot of the newer hymns that had come out maybe in the last 30 or 40 years. And this has a lot of people upset too, because they're saying, oh, we're backsliding. We're not moving forward. We need to stay relevant. And was there ever any battles with the music when you were listening? Does that ever, anyone talked about, well, you can't sing that song anymore because it's too close to our Protestant
I never
friends?
heard anything like that. Of course, we weren't in charge of anything either.
No, but it wasn't part of the discussion points with the
Right.
people in the parish or
People, yeah.
right. So these weren't topics of consideration at that time. Let me ask you, they're also talking about, I was at Mass back in July last month, and the priest said something about no real need for women to wear veils. That they haven't needed to since Vatican II. Some women, especially younger women, are picking them up again because they like the way it makes them feel about their participation in the Mass, which I think is kind of cool. How did you ever view the veil as a kid? And did you always have your veil with you at school if you're going to church, or how was that?
We always wore a hat. We didn't have veils. But,
Okay.
And then when they said we didn't have to, I didn't do it anymore. So.
But for most of the time when you were a kid, you'd wear a hat?
Yeah. Yeah.